how do you achieve this? Or this? First, why would anyone want to plant Vdolls on ice or grass? For one, there can be a high output of damage from electric and fire chips respectively. For instance, in an example, say that we are fighting an enemy navy and using a high damage fire chip, say Fireman SP with 250 damage at max power. The maximum amount of damage with a Vdoll with no planting would be 250 times 2 due to full synchro, times 2 due to grass, plus 250 times 2 with full synchro on the Vdoll. This totals 1500 damage, but with the trick, damage goes all the way up to 2000 damage, as now the calculation for the Vdoll, instead of just 1 times 2, now also enjoys another times 2 due to sitting on grass. This straight up guarantees a deletion on Fireman SP from full health. Vdolls can already be easily planted on grass, but with Fire Soul. Basically, just place your doll on where the grass cross pattern would form, and it would be successfully planted. However, the lack of full synchro on souls leaves much to be desired, and by the time Fire Soul is ended, the Vdoll will have expired. Other than Fire Soul, with the absence of chips like stages, lines, or seeds, how can we plant Vdolls on these special panels? Before I do show how to plant Vdolls, I need to explain some mechanics about Vdoll and how it is relevant for the method. If you just want to skip the initial explanations, be my guest and click the timestamp in the description. Mechanic number 1. Vdoll is an ornamental chip, wherein the doll is thrown 3 panels away. When it sits, it changes whatever panel it lands on into a dark hole panel. Therefore, planting a Vdoll is not as simple as applying grass or ice on the battlefield, then throwing the doll on the grass or ice, because the special panel will be changed. Mechanic number 2. A bit of a detour, and this point is not unique to Vdoll, but highly relevant. Take Videoman, and I use a blizzard chip on his tape obstacles. Notice that Videoman can freely move into the ice without getting damaged. This is due to an interaction that applies for any type of non-draining damage. If a chip hits something, the damage is absorbed, leading to any obstacles or navies that occupy the damage panel to be unaffected. This can be confusing because the animation is not cancelled with the damage. Mechanic number 3. This is relevant to the nature of weather chips. They consist of blizzard, heat breath, elect shock, and wood powder. They form a T pattern of damage corresponding to their element, and they form special panels in that same T pattern after a delay. This delay aspect is important. Mechanic number 4, related to number 3, the weather chips deal damage, so cannot be used after the Vdoll is set, because the Vdoll will just take the damage and apply it to the enemy. To sum it up, mechanic number 1, Vdoll changes the panel where it sits. Mechanic number 2, damage dealt on the panel is cancelled for obstacles and navies entering post-damage. Mechanic number 3, weather chips form special panels after a delay. Mechanic number 4, weather chips can't be used directly on Vdolls if we want to plant them. To make things simpler, I will just demonstrate the method. Other than the Vdoll and weather chip, we require a rock cube and a chip that can damage the cube. We will go step by step. The rock cube is planted first, and damaged until it has less than or equal 100 HP. This is so that when the weather chip is used on it, it will break and give room for the Vdoll to sit. As Vdolls cannot take the place of existing rock cubes, the Vdoll is thrown after. This is where mechanic number 2 comes in. Mega Man steps forward and uses a weather chip. The weather chip's damage is absorbed by the cube, so the weather chip now deals 0 damage to whatever goes onto the panel next. This relates to mechanic 4 as well, because the weather chip is used before the Vdoll is set, not after. Now for mechanic 1 and mechanic 3. Mechanic 1 states that the Vdoll changes the panel on which it sets, changing it into a dark hole. But with mechanic 3, there is a delay in the formation of the special panels, and so the special panel forms after the dark hole. Therefore, the status of the panel is normal, to dark hole, to special. This is thus how to plant Vdolls on ice or grass consistently. You can go 1 panel forward, or even 2 panels forward and use the weather chip depending on your situation. Again, number 1, plant the rock cube. Number 2, damage cube to less than or equal to 100 damage. And number 3, throw the Vdoll. Number 4, go forward and use the weather chip. It can be used successfully for blizzard and wood powder. For elect shock, due to having damage of only 80, it requires that the rock cube is damaged to 80 or less HP. However, you can already convert the panel underneath the Vdoll to crack quite easily with crackout chips, or get on 1 or get on 2. Heat breath does not work as the lava panel will destroy the Vdoll and deal 50 damage to the enemy anyway. An additional note is that a rock cube is good to use to consistently do this method, but not necessary. You can use destructible attacks from other navies, such as Coleman's Clouds or Videoman's Tapes. All that is needed is that the weather chip absorbs the damage before the Vdoll lands. That's about it. This video took a while to make, so a subscribe for the effort would be greatly appreciated. If you have any questions, feel free to share them in the comments below or hop onto my Discord to have more in-depth discussions. For now, please enjoy the shortened highlights on me exploiting this trick to the fullest.